Welcome to Reddit Echoes, where stories that sound made up turn out to be real, told by the people who lived through them. Today, you're about to hear 5 stories that are equal parts bitter, hilarious, and will have you screaming, "What the hell did I just hear from a guy who got branded a homewrecker just for being a good listener? A single dad called heartless for not trusting his sister to babysit to a masterclass in petty revenge involving the blandest chicken breast in history that made the whole office applaud. Each story today is a perfect example of poetic justice served with a twist. Story 1. I didn't do anything wrong, but I got blamed for destroying a marriage. I'm a 32-year-old guy, and I want to ask Reddit this seriously. Am I the asshole if my co-worker's marriage fell apart just because I existed? No joke. I didn't do anything wrong, at least not by normal logic, but everything landed on me like I'd slapped their kid live on national TV. It started 2 to 3 years ago. I worked night shifts with Crystal, a 33-year-old co-worker who was married with a young kid. We were the only 2 regularly assigned the same shift, so we ended up talking a lot. And that was probably mistake number 1, talking too much to someone who hated her husband. Every day, Crystal vented to me like I was her human diary with a built-in nodding function. My husband never helps with the housework. We argued over the TV remote again last night. He's as emotionally available as a brick. I always kept things neutral. In fact, I even defended her husband sometimes, saying things like, "Maybe he's just stressed from work. Maybe you guys should try going out, just the 2 of you." I never flirted, never texted her outside work, never shared anything personal. I swear on my life, I never even thought about anything beyond a co-worker relationship. Until one day, I walked into work looking like I'd been run over by a truck. My ex, who used to emotionally abuse me, had sent me a barrage of messages the night before, ripping open a bunch of old wounds. Crystal looked at me and asked, "What do you usually do to relieve stress?" I was tired, emotionally drained, didn't want to open up. So I muttered, "I jerk off," and walked off like some emotionally dead caveman. Not proud of that moment, but I figured, cool, that'll shut her up. Yeah, right. I wish. Later that afternoon, she asked me again why I still looked so down. I replied more gently. This time just said my ex had stirred up some drama. Crystal looked at me for a moment, then said, "Want to do something fun tonight? You're stressed. I am too. My husband hasn't made me feel anything in a long time." I froze. "Wait, what I mean? We're both lonely, right?" she said with a little smile, like this was the most compassionate suggestion in the world. I immediately shut it down. I don't play that game. A few hours later, I was eating dinner when I got a message from Crystal. It was a photo of her in a sheer nightgown, basically a free preview of her entire NSFW collection. Attached was a message. "Maybe this is what you need." "Are you alone?" I replied with one sentence. "Are you out of your mind and blocked her number?" I thought that would be the end of it. Oh no. You wish. The next day, her husband, let's call him Jake, showed up at work. I was in the break room when I heard someone yelling in the hallway, "You hitting on my wife!" I walked out and saw Jake, angry, shaking, holding up his phone with the photo I had been honored to receive the night before. I froze. The only thing I could manage was I didn't ask for that. I turned her down, I swear. Jake looked at me like I was literal scum. Then he turned and unloaded on Crystal right in front of several other co-workers. And all Crystal could mutter was, "You were texting your ex first." And that's when it hit me, I was her revenge weapon. She had found out Jake had secretly been texting his ex. Apparently, the ex had sent a cute selfie, nothing explicit. So Crystal, in her get-even logic, decided I'll send a full-blown lingerie thirst trap to that nice co-worker guy. That'll make him jealous. Only Jake didn't get jealous. He got humiliated. And now I, the innocent bystander, became the guy who ruined a marriage. A few co-workers started avoiding me. Some whispered that I was too close to Crystal. One even said I heard he ate lunch with her 4 times last week. Oh yeah, guess eating a sandwich on the same shift now counts as international adultery evidence. And that's when I started asking myself, did I mess up by listening to her vent so much? Did I unintentionally give her the impression that I was emotionally available, that I was sending signals I never sent anything but the weekly work schedule? Never invited her for coffee, never made a single suggestive comment. All I did was listen, and I got bombed with lingerie shots. So Reddit, did I destroy someone's marriage, or did I just become the scapegoat for a marriage that was already a flaming wreck, r/style verdict bro? She wasn't looking for empathy. She was looking for someone to drag into the fire with her. 0 out of 5 buttholes. You're the victim here. Crystal 3 out of 5. She didn't just betray her husband. She weaponized an innocent guy. Have you ever been blamed because someone used you as a pawn in their petty revenge game? Tell me your story. Because maybe, just maybe, I'm not alone. Story 2. I refused to let my sister babysit. Now the whole family thinks I'm a monster. I'm 19 years old, a single dad, and every day of my life feels like a circus where I play every role. The mother of my child, or should I say biological mother sounds more fitting, signed away her parental rights and vanished like a New Year's prank. Ever since then, I've been raising my 3-month-old son on my own, working 4 a.m. to noon shifts at a gas station and coming home to diapers bottles crying and the constant fear that I'm somehow screwing up this whole parenting thing. I live with my parents and my 21-year-old sister because I can't afford my own place. I pay a small amount of rent each month, though sometimes I wonder if they only charge me to remind me I'm a burden with a price tag. Now let's talk about my sister. Let's call her Emma for simplicity. Emma is not fond of my baby. And no, I don't mean she's not ready to be an aunt kind of way. I mean, if the baby cries, she glares like she's 1 wire away from wrapping the extension cord around his crib. Emma has literally said, he's a nuisance. I can't sleep. I hate seeing his stuff in the washing machine. I didn't fight back. I just tried to survive. Being a dad is already overwhelming. I didn't need one more person annoyed by my child's existence. One day, a close friend of mine called one of the few who stuck around after I became a teen dad. He works construction, and his crew was suddenly short-staffed. They needed someone urgently for a 4-hour shift. Pay $400. That amount for me at the time was nothing short of a miracle. I immediately said yes, but then came the real question, who's going to watch the baby? I started frantically calling everyone I had ever trusted with a baby. An old babysitter, a kind neighbor who once helped me out my best friend's ex. I sounded like a desperate insurance agent calling people in the middle of a heat wave. Finally, one babysitter I knew said she could help for free. Amazing. I got my son ready, blanket, diapers, bottles, everything. At that moment, Emma was lounging on the couch, scrolling through her phone. She looked up and asked in the most sarcastic tone, "Why are you running around like the house is on fire?" I told her I had a side gig and needed to head out. She scoffed. "Why didn't you ask me to babysit?" I froze. I didn't know if she was joking. I replied, "Emma, you said you hate the baby. You've never offered to help. You literally said you wish he'd never been born." She frowned like she couldn't believe I remembered her saying that. That was when I was annoyed. This is different. I'm offering to help now because you have work. It's not like you're going to take a nap. I asked, "Why didn't you say something earlier while I was calling around? Because I thought you'd ask. We're family. Families should trust each other." I looked her straight in the eyes and asked, "How am I supposed to trust someone who once called my child a burden? Someone who's never held him for more than 5 minutes and even then looked like she was allergic to babies?" Emma started crying, tears streaming down like she was auditioning for a Korean drama. "You're so cruel. I'm just trying to adjust to having a baby around. I'm not a monster." I answered no. "You're just selfish and don't understand the weight of your words. And people like that don't get to babysit my son." Then I picked up my child and walked out. I didn't yell, I wasn't rude, but I think for the first time I did the right thing as a father. That night when I came home, my parents were waiting in the living room like they were about to hold a trial without a defense attorney. They said I insulted my sister, that family is supposed to support one another, that Emma was trying to connect. Connect? You mean the same person who just the day before called my son a reason she can't bring her boyfriend over? I didn't scream back. I just said, if I'm wrong for not trusting someone who once treated my kid like garbage, then I'm proud to be the bad son. Now the house is colder than a freezer. Emma doesn't talk to me. My parents sigh every time I walk by, but my son sleeps peacefully every night in my arms. He's safe, and if that makes me the heartless one, then I'll wear that title like a badge of honor. So what do you think? Was I being too harsh with my sister? Or was I just protecting the only person in the world who trusts me without question? Story 3. I sent my sister the vet bill after she nearly killed my horse. Trying to freelance breed them. I'm a 33-year-old woman who owns a small horse farm, and I raise them with the same love and responsibility as one would raise a child. Because of my experience and passion, I transitioned into professional breeding, specifically dressage racing and show horses. I currently have 10 purebred horses, each worth as much as a luxury car. In this world, every breeding decision is based on years of planning and genetics. There's no such thing as, ooh, this one looks pretty. Let's pair them and hope for a baby stallion with heartthrob vibes. Now my 19-year-old sister is the kind of person who thinks watching Black Beauty once makes her an equine expert. She's the miracle baby of the family, born nearly 15 years after my parents had given up on having more kids, so naturally she's been spoiled to the bone. Wanting her to learn a trade, my parents asked me to let her intern on my horse farm. From the start, I made it crystal clear, this isn't a fairy tale job. Horses are large, powerful animals and downright dangerous if you don't respect protocols. She'd have to start with mucking stalls, cleaning paddocks, then maybe she'd learn about breeding. At first, she seemed fine. She even enjoyed feeding the horses breakfast. But I started noticing something odd. Whenever I brought up breeding, she'd always ask about one horse in particular, my newly rescued stallion. His name is Midnight. Absolutely stunning. Looks like he was carved out of marble. But he came from a negligent breeder. No papers, no blood work, no breeding clearance. Totally unsafe to mate. I had him isolated, scheduled for full testing, and was even planning to have him gelded, neutered if needed. There was no way I was risking the health of my champion mares, some of which had produced 4 generations of winners. But my sister kept pestering me. Why not pair Midnight with Willow? He's prettier than Dante. Don't you think they have matching vibes? I explained it to her 1,000 times. Pretty doesn't equal genetically sound. Willow, my star mare, was only ever matched with Dante because their line had produced outstanding foals. And Willow was currently on a 2-year recovery break, not even in cycle. And then, the insanity happened. One day I had to leave the ranch on short notice to deal with a client issue. Before leaving, I told her, don't do anything. Just take a break for an hour. Don't touch any horse. Do not open any gates. I came home earlier than planned. Something felt off. And what did I find? The stall door open. Willow was standing in the paddock with Midnight. Midnight was panicking, kicking, bucking, snorting like he'd seen a ghost. Willow wasn't much better, hyperventilating, spinning in circles, clearly terrified. It was an extremely dangerous situation. One wrong kick, and someone could have broken bones or worse. I screamed, "What the hell are you doing?" My sister, standing there like she was on a casual stroll, said, "I just thought they'd be a good match." I was helping you. I nearly lost it. I immediately separated the horses and called the emergency vet to examine both of them. By some miracle, Willow hadn't ovulated yet, no chance of pregnancy, but she was severely stressed. Midnight was in a frenzy and wouldn't let anyone near him for over an hour. And then, I sent a vet bill, $100 to my parents' house, addressed specifically to the person who played Russian roulette with my horses' lives. You think they owned up to it? Nope. I got a three-way call from my parents and my sister all yelling, "You're so cruel. She's just a 19-year-old kid. She didn't know better. Why are you being so harsh? She doesn't have money to pay." "That," I calmly replied. "Then you pay it for her. But I'm not footing the bill for someone else's stupidity." She understood. She just didn't care. And now she has to learn what consequences feel like. I know some people will say, "But she's your sister. She didn't know better." Why send the bill? I didn't send it for the money. I sent it so she remembers. You don't mess with living creatures and then say, "Oops, I was just trying to help." A new McDonald's employee doesn't get to reprogram the POS system just because it seemed slow. So why the hell should a teenager be allowed to freestyle breed $40,000 horses because she thought they were vibing RS/style verdict 0 out of 5 buttholes for UOP? You're the only one in that family with a functioning brain and a spine. 2 out of 5 for the sister being young doesn't excuse being reckless, stubborn, and dangerously stupid. 1 extra butthole goes to the parents for raising a daughter like they were feeding wishes into a well. What did I learn? Never let family guilt override actual danger, and never assume that I was just trying to help is a valid excuse when you nearly killed 2 horses worth more than a BMW. Story 4. My wife lied for 5 years and sent the dog I loved most to a place no one comes back from. I used to think love could overcome anything. I was wrong. I'm a 35-year-old man. My wife and I got married nearly 6 years ago when she was pregnant with our first child. But even before we had kids, I had a loyal companion by my side, Luna, a small pit bull and the best girl in the world, the only one who got me through the darkest parts of my 20s. Luna wasn't just a dog. She was family, the only friend who waited at the door for me every night. My unpaid therapist when I was having panic attacks after losing my job. The only reason I got out of bed during my worst depressive episodes. But things started changing when my wife got pregnant. I understood anxiety would rise with a baby on the way, but my wife became irrationally obsessed with Luna. Even though Luna had never growled, never been aggressive in fact, she was scared of vacuum cleaners. My wife insisted, "That dog's going to bite our baby. She's a dangerous breed," I read articles. "We should rehome her before I give birth." I refused. Every time she brought up finding a new home for Luna, I pushed back. Luna wasn't an item. She wasn't a nuisance to be discarded just because a new family member was coming. And then, it happened. One morning I was at work when I got a panicked call from my wife crying. Luna ran away. I opened the back door to take out the trash and she just bolted. I couldn't catch her. I didn't think twice. I drove around the neighborhood, hung posters, shouted her name until my throat was raw, checked neighbors' security cameras. I prayed. I cried. I slept sitting on the porch waiting for a hope that never came. No one saw Luna. No trace. Nothing. 3 weeks later, my wife consoled me saying I needed to let go because the baby's coming soon and you need to focus on something positive. So I tried. I swallowed. My grief locked it in a dark place deep inside and told no one how badly it still hurt. 5 years passed. We now have 3 kids, a bigger house, and no dog. Even though I've brought up getting one again, my wife always finds an excuse: the kids are too young. You don't have time to take care of one. I don't want dog hair everywhere. And I let it go. Again and again. Until last month. It started when I was helping my father-in-law clean out his storage unit. They're tucked away in a box. I found an old intake form from a shelter. The name said Luna Pitbull, 5 years ago. Signed by my father-in-law. My heart dropped into my stomach. I took the paper home and confronted my wife. She was silent for a few seconds, then finally sighed. I didn't want to lie, but I did it for the baby. You wouldn't listen. I was scared Luna might hurt the baby, so Dad and I took her to the shelter. I asked, "Why didn't you tell me the truth?" "Because you never would have agreed. You loved that dog more than this family." She was right. I did love Luna, but I never chose her instead of my wife. My wife chose secrecy and betrayal instead of a conversation. I didn't yell, I didn't argue. I just slept downstairs for a week. Now I don't even know if I trust my wife anymore. 5 years of lies. 5 years thinking I was the reason I lost my best friend. 5 years of guilt believing I left the door open, while she lived comfortably with that secret, like it was just a small white lie. So I gave her an ultimatum. Either we adopt a dog, or you accept that you killed what was left of me inside. She fought back. I don't have time for a dog who's going to walk it, feed it. We have 3 kids, I answered. I had a friend. You took her away without even asking. Now I'm asking for one piece of fairness back. If not, don't ask why the love I have for you is dying a little more every day. She thinks I'm threatening divorce. The truth is, I'm seriously considering it. I can't live with someone who can lie so easily and justify it with, you loved the dog more than your family. No. I loved truth. I loved loyalty. I loved being respected. And Luna was all of those things. Aris Lash style verdict OP, you're not the butthole. 0 out of 5. Your wife, 3.5 to 4 out of 5. She didn't just lie, she let you suffer for years over a loss that was never yours to bear. Most people lose pets by accident. You lost yours by premeditated betrayal. I don't know how this ends, but I know this much. There was once a dog out there waiting for me to come back, and the person I trusted most in this world stole my chance to ever find her again. Story 5. I made a special lunch, just for my co-worker. After she trashed my cooking for 3 months straight, I'm a Thai American woman. I have a very special power. I cook really good food, and somehow make white co-workers uncomfortable with the smell of fish sauce. At my office, we do weekly potlucks. Everyone brings a dish to share during Friday lunch. Sounds fun, right? But if you're Asian and bring spicy curry garlic, dark soy, or red chilies, you become the weird smell in the break room. And at my workplace, that smell had an enemy, Kate. Kate is the type of person who lives on crustless bread and forced smiles. Every time I brought in Thai food, curry pad krapao, some tam tom yum, she reacted like I was serving deep-fried shark carcass. Examples include, wow, that's pungent. Why does it smell sour and spicy? Did you grow up eating bugs too? Yes, bugs. One time I brought in somtam papaya salad and she looked at my plate and said, I read Thai people eat insects. Did you grow up with that kind of stuff too? I smiled, trying not to cause a scene. But in my head, I started building a list titled, Dishes I Will Never Make for This Woman, Even If She's Starving. Then came the day of reckoning. I brought in cow soy northern Thai coconut curry noodles with crispy egg noodles on top, fragrant with fried garlic and curry powder. The whole office was moaning with joy. Everyone loved it. Well, everyone except Kate. She took one bite, made a face like she'd just eaten soap, and muttered, ugh, that's intense. The smell is really aggressive. I nearly spat out my drink from laughing. Aggressive. It's curry, not TNT. After lunch, I overheard her whispering to someone else. Every time she cooks, I get a headache. It's always fish sauce and garlic. I don't know how people eat that stuff. I heard, I remembered, and I plotted. The next potluck happened to be our manager's birthday. As usual, I made something delicious, grilled chicken with kaffir, lime, sticky rice, spicy dipping sauce. Yes, it was fragrant. Yes, it was delicious. Yes, it was peak Kate triggering material. But this time, I brought something special just for her. A cute little plastic container with 1 piece of dry-boiled skinless chicken breast, a side of steamed broccoli, a cup of ranch dressing, and a handwritten note for Kate. Made it mild just for you. When it was time to eat, she found her little lunchbox, opened it, and froze like a statue. She looked around and asked, what is this? I smiled sweetly. I remembered you don't like strong smells, so I made you a separate dish. No garlic, no fish sauce, no chili. Honestly, no flavor at all, just to be safe. The whole office burst out laughing. One coworker said, "Looks super healthy, like something a liver patient would eat." Kate went red, put her fork down, and left the room. A few hours later, I got an email from her claiming I humiliated her publicly and that she was escalating it to HR. HR called me in. I calmly explained. Kate had repeatedly made negative comments about my food and culture. She once asked if I ate bugs growing up. I never insulted her, only tried to help her feel comfortable by making food that suited her delicate palate. HR laughed. Not officially, of course. But the guy said, "Just keep things professional. And if someone doesn't like certain foods, they can always eat the salad they brought from home." Since then, the entire office has rallied behind me. An Indian coworker started coordinating weekly dish swaps with me. Someone else suggested I start a cooking TikTok. And Kate, she stays quiet, eats her cold sandwich. No one banned her from anything, but no one invites her either. R/style verdict OP. You are the office legend. Kate 1 out of 5 buttholes for talking trash behind people's backs and then playing victim when karma shows up in a lunchbox. That was a masterclass in passive-aggressive culinary justice. Chef's kiss. Lesson. If you keep insulting someone's food, one day they just might cook exactly what you deserve and shut you down with a dry-ass chicken breast that's even blander than your personality. If today's stories hit you with the perfect mix of salty, sweet, spicy, and full-on drama, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you won't miss the next video from Reddit Echoes. Every week I'll bring you wild, controversial, and sometimes oddly inspiring stories, all from real people with real experiences. But for now, just remember Reddit never runs out of drama. The only question is, are you ready to hear it? See you in the next one.